Hello and welcome to a fun little video. I had such a weird day today, like a very bad mental health day, I would say, and I had the craving to do something that was comforting to me, which is anything to do with ghosts. But I thought it'd be fun to read some scary stories before I go to bed. So I'm just on Reddit, and I will just say the name of the author, I guess, as we go. I'm just gonna pick some out without really reading them. I don't wanna spoil the story for myself, so I'm just picking them and then going for it. So happy June, happy Pride Month, everyone. Much love and many hugs to everybody. But yeah, let's get started. And hopefully if you had a bad day or just are trying to wind down, this video is something you can watch and feel a sense of comfort from, or just a sense of relaxation despite the spookiness. And if you guys want to read any of these, I'm just on Ghost Stories, r/Ghost Stories. Okay, this first story is from Scary-Height 4394. It's called The Townhouse. The Townhouse. The townhouse that my partner, daughter, aged 4, and myself rented in 1994 was located along the shores of Lake Illawarra, Australia. I probably just butchered that. Shortly after we moved in, I began hearing someone walking in the upstairs hallway. At first, I thought it was my daughter sneaking out of bed, which sometimes it was, but other times when I went to investigate, she was in bed asleep. I never said anything about the footsteps to my partner, making the assumption that the sounds were the result of the townhouse settling or my imagination. My partner takes care of our daughter, so she is home all day. Soon she began telling me that she kept hearing someone walking around upstairs when nobody else was up there. She said that she heard the sounds often, so I told her that I was also hearing things. One day my partner was in the kitchen cleaning the oven. Our daughter was with her and busy playing in the tiny yard by the back door and inside on the first floor. My partner was working on her hands and knees and had stopped for a moment to catch her breath. Still on her knees, she was suddenly hugged from behind. Oh, okay, we're good. I read ahead. Oh boy, okay. It was such a loving hug and wonderful feeling that she turned around to give our daughter a hug in return. But there was no one there. Oh, wait, this is actually a really sweet ghost story. This is what I need. I need sweet, comforting, lovely ghost stories. Tales of beyond and far away. But there was no one there. She said a strange sensation of happiness, loneliness, and love flowed through her body. She immediately jumped to her feet and called out to our daughter. She was in the lounge room a few meters away, playing with her toys. Another night, while my partner and I were in bed, we heard someone walking in our bedroom. The sound started on my side of the bed, moved around the bed, then went out of the room, down the hallway, and down the stairs. However, one night, our daughter came running out of her room into our bedroom, wide-eyed and out of breath, and started telling us about the mice that were in her room at night, scratching noises on the floor, and the sounds of a child running around in her room. She wouldn't go back in there. She slept with us for the remainder of the lease. Sadly, my partner and I didn't want to leave this fascinating and surreal experience, but had no choice. We feel that the encounters were of a lonely child, perhaps still looking for mom. Oh, I mean, if I were the kid, I would also definitely not want to sleep in my room. Like, that's very spooky. But it's very sad to think that there's a little child ghost looking for mom. Oh my gosh. Okay, that one hurt, but it was also at the same time cute, but also it hurt. I feel like even knowing that I don't believe in ghosts, if I were in that situation, I would almost like feel like I would want to like call a medium or something just to come in, like just in case it was real. Like I would want someone to like help them move on from that space, like just for the sake of like their peace. I don't know, that's so hard. Like those stories of spirits that are like trapped somewhere makes me sad to think about. Wait, should I do like sweet ghost stories? Is that a thing? I'm gonna search that up. That's what I need. A wholesome ghost story. Okay, this is still on r/Ghost Stories. This is by the user Karma B Biffin. but it's a different word that I can't say. Okay, just in case YouTube flags me. Okay, a wholesome ghost story. So when I was in college many years ago, I used to go for runs really late at night / early in the morning when I would get off work. Not the safest, I know, but I was familiar with the neighborhood. I knew someone on every block and I switched up the route every day. Anyway, after doing this for many years, you get familiar with the normal late night neighborhood scene. I knew what cars parked where, what parts of the sidewalk jutted up unexpectedly, who left their porch lights on, who walked their dog really late, who left their TVs glowing, etc. Anyway, there was this one route that I didn't take often because it was the longest, and after a 12-hour long shift, I wasn't always up for it. But whenever I did, I knew that I would happen upon this chick and her yellow lab outside her house. Respectfully, to not freak her out, I always crossed to the other side of the street and gave her a friendly wave to let her know that I wasn't an axe murderer or anything. She never waved back or really acknowledged me, and usually, by the time I'd reached the corner, they'd already retreated inside. I didn't think much of it beyond that. At least that is until now. Is it a ghost? Is it a ghost and her dog? I'm gonna cry. Okay. No. Well, at least they're together. Okay, they're together, it's fine. They're on a walk. That's a beautiful memory to be stuck in, at the very least. Silver lining. I hope they're not stuck though. Okay, and let me just get back into it, Jesus. At least that is until now. My mother is a landscape designer and she still lives in our old hood. She was talking to me the other day and she says that she's designing for that house. I know it's that house because it's really cute and it's directly across the street from the park / creek. So naturally, I asked about the girl that lived there. Because I always assumed she was a nurse because she was always wearing scrubs when she walked her dog. My mom said she didn't know, but the people were elderly, so she figured maybe I was referring to the previous owner. Yeah, sure, great, people move. That totally makes sense. My mom calls me up the other day, first thing out of her mouth. What did that chick look like? I asked her to be more specific, as we talk all the time and me about a lot of people. I'll just say Biff. Biff. If I need to say it, I'll say Biff from now on. I hope everyone knows what I mean. Okay, many of them chicks. And she says, the one you used to see on your runs outside the house I'm designing. I then went on to describe her as follows because I remember her vividly. Brown hair, probably medium length, often in a bun or ponytail, usually wearing pink or blue scrubs, lean build, not much taller than me, and probably early to mid-20s. Back when I saw her, that's in parentheses. My mom was quiet for a minute. Then she finally said, so this couple I'm designing for, they're in their 80s, and they had a daughter that was a nurse who passed away in a car accident on her way home from work when she was 25. Oh, my heart. My heart dropped out my beephole. I don't know what YouTube flags, guys. I'm sorry. My mom continued. That was in 1999. Her name was Megan, and she had a yellow lab named Simon that she walked every night when she'd get home from her late shift at the hospital. To clarify, in case you're experiencing some confusion, I was but a wee lass in 1999, and these runs I was taking spanned from like 2009 to 2013. Oh, but wait, there's more. My mom said that the lady told her that she used to leave the porch light on so her daughter could see her way up to the house easier when she got home from work. Then, when Megan got home, she would take Simon out, and when she was done, she'd shut the light off to signify to her parents in the morning that she'd gotten home safely. The dog had been taken out, and she was asleep upstairs. She told my mom that for a short while after her daughter's death, she would turn the light on out of habit, and she would come out in the morning and it would be off. Whoa. Wait. Oh. That's actually wait, that's gonna make me cry. I'm already having a bad day. I don't want to cry. Okay, I sucked it back in. That's so sweet though, because it's like her spirit telling her mom I'm okay. I need to take a sip of tea. Oh my god, okay. She said that her husband convinced her that her mind was playing tricks on her, and she never actually turned the light on to begin with. But she said that she always felt like that was her daughter's way of telling her that she was still there with them. Anyway, she thanked my mom and told her to pass along her thanks to me, and my mom and I had a really solid sob session. Oh my god, I can't imagine. That's insane. Whoa, okay. And now we're trying to settle on a good way to communicate with each other from the beyond, because we feel that a full body apparition is a tall order in the afterlife. So if you have suggestions, feel free to let me know. I'll just be over here contemplating my sanity and whatnot. That was really wholesome. That had in a way, I know it's bittersweet, but just taking the story for what it is, that is a very wholesome outcome for a ghost story, for what it could have been. Having a porch light and turning it on and knowing that you're yeah, I turned it on and it's off in the morning. And then also the apparition, it's two different experiences and they're both coming together and talking about it. I hope that brought the mother a little sliver of peace that she can hold on to, knowing that the daughter is saying, hey, I'm okay. And also she's with the dog that she had and always walked, she's not alone. Oh my gosh, okay, I really like that one. Also, I might make this kind of a regular thing, so if anybody has any ghost stories that you want me to read, tell me about them in the comments, or you can even leave your own ghost stories. I would love to read your ghost stories too. That would be amazing. Okay, here's another one. Okay, this is a very short one. My wholesome ghost story. This is by Mr. Freak It. This is on r/paranormal. So this happened to me back in 2017 when I was just about to turn 18. For a bit of context, that will be important. I seem to have the same problem that a lot of men have, where I can't find something sometimes, even when it is right in my face. This deeply annoyed my mom, and any time that I would ask her to help me find something and it would be in plain sight, she would pick it up and throw it at me. Not hard, just playfully, and roll her eyes really hard. Back to the day in question, my mom had just been pulled off of life support after being pronounced legally brain dead. Oh, that's terrible. The choice was up to me, and I knew that she wouldn't want a life like that. So on the evening of the day I had told the doctors to pull the plug, my uncle, who had come from another state to help me get affairs in order, had made scalloped potatoes for dinner. After we had finished eating, I went into the kitchen to put away the leftovers. I put the casserole dish they were made in on the stove and walked to the pantry to grab the cling wrap. I looked for a minute or two and could not find it. In my emotionally raw state, I began to lose my temper and loudly exclaimed, "Where the is it?" After a moment or two, I saw a swift blur of movement above my head as the cling wrap flew off the second to top shelf and hit me right in the face, but not very hard. It took me a moment to process what had happened. I stood there in complete shock, and then I kind of broke down in the middle of the kitchen. I tried to think of anything it could have been, trying to convince myself it couldn't have been her, but I have come up empty. That's insane. That's the type of thing that that would sway me if that happened to me. That is a life-changing experience. Even though it feels the action itself feels small, if that happened, oh my god. Yeah, I would just fully believe at that point. That is absolutely insane. Oh, and that's again that's another wholesome one. It's showing that his mom is there. I have no words. That is so insane. I'm just feeling a lot of things tonight. I'm not very verbal. That is such an insane story. Yeah, I would stand there in shock too. That's insane. Oh my god. And yeah, I would also have a meltdown. Wow. Okay. I hope that it felt to that person though that the mom was there with him that night, watching over him. What's my tea fortune today? Bring me the sunset in a cup. Emily Dickinson. All right, this is Wholesome Ghost Story by SamArt_. About 3 years ago, my grandmother had passed away. She'd been sick for a very long time with lung and breast cancer, and it had eventually ended her life short. I am the youngest of many cousins on my mom's side, my grandmother's side, and was very close with my grandmother at the time. After she died, it had taken a toll on me, but I had eventually learned to move on in life. I was online shopping in my room one day when I decided I was going to buy a set of wall vines that came with lights. These vines were the fake ones that you put on your wall to hang, but those aren't as important to my story as the lights are. These lights didn't cost much. They were battery powered and had a little power box, as most freight lights do. I keep them on right before I go to bed. Now one night I was sitting at my desk when I turned around to see that the lights had turned on by themselves. However, because this set was so cheap, I just brushed it off and went to bed soon after. But the following night, it happened again. The same time too, around 10:45 p.m. This continued to happen at the same time. There is no timer on these lights. I had read the box that describes its features. There's also multiple settings, and the setting I keep it on is always what it turns on to be. Keep in mind that you have to click the button on the power box multiple times to be able to achieve this setting. However, I had not even been remotely close to the box, and I never can when it turns on. Nothing else in my house has changed or moved, and in my gut something is telling me that the thing that's causing it is my grandmother's spirit. The reason I came to this conclusion is because when I used to stay at her house, she would always make sure to turn the nightlight on for us kids before we went to bed. Nobody else did it but her. Oh. It still happens to this day, and it's just a nice thought to have. Now whenever the lights turn on, I know she's watching over me. Thank you, Grandma. That's so sweet. Oh, my heart. That was a really nice one to leave off on. I liked that one a lot. Okay, well, thank you for sitting with me while I read some stories before bed. I hope listening to these was relaxing to you or comforting. Maybe you're trying to go to sleep or drawing or something or doing laundry. Regardless, I am happy you chose to listen today, and thank you to all these authors who wrote these stories on Reddit of their experiences and for sharing those experiences with us. All right, I'm gonna go to bed. Bye bye. Much love. I'm sending whoever is watching this peace and comfort. Happy summer.